Tag TV and Tag Radio. Be seen and heard by both technology users and technology producers throughout the state of Georgia and around the world. Low cost, big benefits, powerhouse online branded video and audio has arrived. Tag TV, Tag Radio, there's a lot more to know. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by GlobalSpeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of GlobalSpeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. The headlines read, healthcare and technology. Yet, high-tech companies can invent all they want, but if a new machine or idea doesn't work, then it's effectively a waste of time and money. Worse, it could cost someone their life. Yet, putting it bluntly, if the people at the business end of patient care are unable or unwilling to embrace the future of their industry, then the road forward will come to a sudden end. Most hospitals now accept that technology is the way forward, whether it be in the form of electronic patient records, personal health care systems, online prescriptions, or, say, hospital emergency room, waiting room online reservations. Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, April 3rd, 2012, and this is Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. I'm your guest host, Frank Baia. In the last 10 years, visits to emergency departments have increased by 32%. And are expected to double over the next decade, while the number of emergency departments has decreased by 4.6%. You do the math. However, experts say that the average wait time at an emergency room in the next few years will be well over 4 hours. Here's a simple yet brilliant idea. Patient enters zip code and preferred radius, gets a list of nearby emergency rooms. The patient views real-time appointment times and, well, sounds too good to be true, makes a reservation. Where would you or a loved one prefer to be in a non-life-threatening emergency? Spending hours waiting treatment in a crowded waiting room, or wait in the comfort of your own home to hear those so important words, "We're ready to see you now"? Up to a simple yet brilliant idea, the Tech Talk takes the ER Express to healthcare patient convenience as we speak with Sahil Patel, Executive Vice President for early-stage company ER Express. An alumni of Emory University and an MBA from Harvard Business School, Sahil's healthcare technology years of experience have included key roles at MedAssets and CodeWrite. We go inside ER Express is a privately held company founded by Emergency Medicine Group, taking the fast track from Atlanta to the world's healthcare, all being driven by the Tech Talk in today's healthcare technology discussion as we speak with its Executive VP, Sahil Patel. Sahil, welcome to Tech Talk.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me on the show.
You know, I think there's probably one vertical with that unquestionably has got more dynamics going in it, and that's got to be healthcare and healthcare IT. So many new concepts, new ideas. Certainly the capability of broadband and the ability of connection and making things like telemedicine and so many other aspects of our relationship to the medical community. But I think you guys have really hit on something that's pretty exciting. Let's talk a little bit about the idea of ER Express and the idea of using the Internet for pre-registration. I guess that's basically the concept. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. So the idea behind ER Express is a really simple one, which is when people go to the emergency room, they hate to wait. And the national average for wait times is really long. Right now it's between 3 and 4 hours. And so if you are faced with that prospect and you're going to be sitting in an uncomfortable plastic chair watching bad soap operas while people are coughing on you, we offer an alternative. And by the way, I should mention that this is for people who are not facing some kind of life-threatening illness. So if you've got chest pains or a stroke or you've been in a serious car accident, this is definitely not for you. But there's still a lot of other people, a lot of reasons people might go to the ER other than those kind of really life-threatening type of illnesses. And so we give patients a website that they can go to on their phone, on their laptop, from their iPad, and they can find the closest hospital, and they can pick a time that they want to go in, and it will hold their place in line. So it's just like the Disney Fast Pass in a lot of ways. You hold your place in line. You do your waiting at home you sit on the couch, get some rest, take a nap. Then you go in at the appointment time, and they will see you right away.
Now, I guess part of the vision for the future is the idea that in a lot of cases, what we used to call a doc in a box, now they've got these clinics and other healthcare facilities that are literally community outreaches and things like pharmacies. Do you see a time when this type of scheduling and this kind of coordination will happen for that kind of an area, or is it strictly a case of an emergency situation like an ER?
It's a good question. So right now we're focused on the emergency room space because that's where just the patient need is the greatest. You're faced with waiting 4 hours.
Yeah.
You'll do almost anything to make that shorter and more convenient. And that's where we think our value proposition is.
There's plenty of cultivation that needs to be done there. Go into it for our listening audience a little bit about how does it work, chicken and egg kind of thing. You line up the hospitals, or is there a system you're integrating in on a software that's already embedded in most of the electronic record keeping that are at hospitals? I'm guessing, but how does it work?
Yeah, so I think for the listening audience, the way we go about doing this, first we line up the hospitals. And by the way, hospitals are already trying to reach out to their patient and their patient communities and undertake a number of initiatives to improve patient satisfaction. So we are one of those. By no means are we the only one, or this is something that hospitals are always trying to communicate with, listen to their patients, and then do something about it. So one thing they hear a lot from their patients is, we hate the wait. We get, we love the clinical care, but we hate the wait. And it's just going to the ER is a hassle, and it's inconvenient, and it's a time when patients are stressed and they're vulnerable. So the first thing we do is we line up the hospitals. And, hospitals are in varying places in terms of their ability and kind of their interest and kind of ability to act on it, and their bandwidth to take on an initiative like this. But a number of them are. And what we sell to them is a web-based software. So it's nothing for them to install or maintain. So we're in the cloud. Mm-hmm. So we make it really easy for the hospital to get up and running on this. And then once
go ahead.
And once they are, then we jointly we work with each hospital to promote this out to the community, so patients are aware that this is available. And by the way, it's free for patients to use, so they love this.
I guess I'm still in a quandary in terms of how do you get critical mass, because I'm guessing that the patient or the ultimate user of the ER service will know that it's available because the company, the hospital, has taken on the software and is promoting it directly to them.
That's exactly right.
So, and is there maybe a password or some kind of protocol that when I come to your website, it'll say, "Sorry, that's not one of our areas," or?
So there's and I'm glad you asked that question. And for the listening audience at home who may be interested in this but trying to figure out, hey, is this something I can use, or is this available for me? Mm-hmm. I think your question is right on. So the first thing is that when, let's say you went right now to www.erexpress and went in, the first thing the site is going to do is identify where you're located.
Okay.
And it's going to say, hey, we're in Midtown Atlanta, and it's going to say we've located the nearest hospital that's taking a reservation. And it's doing that through, identifying your IP address. So whether you're on your laptop or you're on your iPad or you're on your phone, it knows where you are. And it locates and then recommends the nearest participating hospital. Now, let's say you don't want to go there. Maybe you prefer to go to Piedmont Hospital instead of Northside. You can search our site and search on keyword Piedmont, and it'll locate. And if Piedmont's participating, it'll say, hey, you can make a reservation. And if it's not, it'll say, sorry, they're not taking reservations right now.
No, I would think that the ROI from a hospital perspective is bottom line. Number one, it's got to be a much more efficient system. And then two, you got a value-added proposition from a consumer standpoint that says we care enough that we've got a service to help you prevent having to wait. I guess my question is, why aren't the hospitals building this product themselves?
Yeah, great question. And the challenge for hospitals is that they are under enormous pressure from all sides to undertake a series of mandates that are consuming all their resources from an IT standpoint. and there's been a lot of press about electronic medical records. And the electronic medical record is a very complex, long-term initiative for a hospital to undertake, and virtually every hospital is doing this. And it's consuming all of their resources. I shouldn't say all. It's consuming a great deal of their resources.
Sure.
And as it is, their IT departments were already had their plates full. So, for the average hospital that says, hey, I'm already kind of overburdened, overtaxed, just trying to do job one, which is keep all our systems running and deliver great clinical care. Job two, undertake this huge mandate to put in electronic records. Programs like this, they sound great, but there's just not time in the day for them to do it. So when a company can come along like us, and by the way, we're founded by emergency medicine physicians that understands kind of their unique challenges and can speak their language and say, hey, we built it for you, we'll turn it on for you, we'll do all the work. They find that really appealing.
No, I can imagine. I guess because I get from another perspective, just the entrepreneur in me wants to ask the question of why wouldn't you try to, is there an appetite anymore for a standalone application in such an integrated environment? Wouldn't a play be kind of going after some kind of bundling with an existing, you mentioned electronic medical records, something that they're already having to deal with as a value added?
So that, we have not ruled that out. That may happen in the future, and I'll tell you why we're not doing it right now. And for folks listening at home who may be in the industry, I think there may be varying perspectives on this.
Sure.
But my perspective is this: one is that let's just focus in on the electronic medical record part of this, which is I think that's the piece a lot of. It's gotten the most press. I think when I tell, my relatives what I do for a living, most of them, I think they probably think that's what I'm doing. And, that's probably what my mom thinks I'm doing.
Really?
But, not surprising. That's the piece that gets the most press.
Sure.
It certainly holds the most promise. To date, it's also been the most challenging. I think a lot of hospitals would say they haven't fully realized the ROI that they expected to at this point in the game.
Okay, so in a way what you're saying is that there's a lot of sort of confusion from a cultural standpoint, just that the environment, like a lot of new ideas and disruptive technologies, one of the biggest issues is getting it accepted and embraced and getting it implemented because the culture resists adopting it. So, and I guess, am I kind of getting the idea that what you're saying is that they're already addressing so many questions and are puzzled about adopting so many things that maybe just a simple, basic, really good idea that gets the job done is a whole lot easier to handle than having to worry about an entire medical record system.
That's a great way to put it. Simplicity wins.
Yeah.
And we are simple.
Okay.
And I think the other thing is, I want to say, we have not ruled out the idea of being integrated or, being part of a big integrated type of system package. That could be good for us. It could be good for them. The challenge right now is that there are so many different systems out there. And what I think is going to happen is over the next 10 years, you're going to see tremendous consolidation in the EMR space, and you'll get down to 2 or 3 players who last and who have scale. And then you'll see the type of standalone applications. It could be ER Express. It could be something totally else. Who will say, okay, now we can, maybe we won't pick a winner, but we can pick one of 3, and we can invest capital in integrating our product and be assured that there's a big enough market that makes sense. Today, if I were to make that decision, it's so fragmented that I would bet on one horse. Could be a good horse, but there's for every one hospital that uses that particular package, there's 9 that use something totally else.
Well, I would think marketing is a big play in terms of just getting the critical mass of the number of signups as quickly as you could. I think it's a great idea. I'm thinking to myself, another thing that we run into a lot when we talk to so many different innovators and implementers of new technologies is that, I'll say it's the same thing, only different. And I don't mean that the idea isn't a fresh idea. It's the fact that it can be applied. The technology doesn't know the content. So I'm thinking, I don't like to wait for my tires or my oil change. Why would I only care about it if I'm going to the emergency room? I'm thinking that there are probably many scheduler-type systems in play now, but aren't you really a solid play for taking on other types of situations where we are in a mentality where consumers everything is in a hurry. We don't want to wait for anything.
Yeah, we're a convenient society. And I'm glad you brought it up. You may have heard the commercials, but, Supercuts now offers a scheduling tool and an app. So you can hold your place in line or make your appointment and then walk right in and get your hair cut. So that's a great example of what you're talking about.
Now, I guess one of the things that is a play in your area, though, is about insurance companies. What do they think of this trend like this?
Well, in insurance companies, I'll tell you, the most interesting thing I've learned about insurance companies lately is I was reading the Investor Day presentation that Aetna gave. And what they said was this. They see themselves as a healthcare IT company with a insurance arm. And, what that says to me is that the writing is on the wall that being a kind of a benefits manager, for lack of a better phrase, is there is a shelf life on that business model. And they are aggressively moving to get closer to the consumer and work wherever they can to find new innovation. So interestingly, one of our competitors is called iTriage, great company, also founded by emergency medicine physicians, built a fantastic iPhone app, and Aetna recently acquired them and made them a key centerpiece as their strategy to get closer to the consumer.
Well, I could see a public-private collaboration kind of a commercial environment in which the insurance company is sponsoring the underwriting of the installation of the ER, express for nothing into the hospital to get exposure to the patients.
That could happen. Yeah, I haven't heard of it yet, but I think that could be in our future.
Well, the only thing, again, from my standpoint, in such a competitive situation in which time matters, building out the critical mass of getting in what I'll call installs would seem to be something really important from a strategic standpoint. At the end of the day, if I've got more hospitals than anybody else has got, I've got the market.
We are investing heavily in getting as big of a footprint from a customer hospital standpoint as possible. Now, the other thing we're investing in is to differentiate what we do, because at the end of the day, I think you hit upon a really interesting point, which is the idea of providing scheduling not only applies to a number of situations, not just the ER, it could be going to Supercuts, but it's also something that will, if not already, is going to become commoditized pretty quickly. The idea that you could go into an app or go on a website, pick a time and hold your place in line is going to be commoditized. So what we're investing in is, the hospital's business is in delivering great clinical care. What can we do before the patient shows up and after they show up to improve their experience? And it turns out there is tremendous opportunity. So this quarter, we're actually rolling out a set of web-based aftercare videos of board-certified emergency physicians explaining how to take care of yourself and what to look out for if, say, you come in to be treated for pneumonia at the ER. And there's tremendous value in this because it turns out almost 80% of patients do not fully understand their aftercare instructions. So this leads to repeat visits, bad clinical outcomes, all kinds of things that drive up the cost of healthcare.
Great idea.
And this is a really simple idea. You come home, you get a little email saying thanks for coming to see us. Click here and search through our library, by the way, for free, and watch it, share it, share it with your family. Make sure you take care of yourself. And we think this is actually going to improve not just patient engagement and satisfaction, but we think it can actually move the needle in terms of patients being able to follow and know what they're supposed to do and get a better outcome.
No, I can see the enrichment of that type of communication and exchange of information even before I go to the emergency room.
Sure.
Not only after how to take care of myself, but what to expect. What can I do to prepare myself for what I'm about to encounter while I'm waiting, kind of a thing that could be an interesting value added. Well, I'll tell you, Sahil, I think you guys already know that you're on to something really good.
Well,
Sounds really exciting. I guess one last thing that we can be really glad for is that you're basing the company here in Atlanta. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I'm going to guess for all the right reasons: great quality of life, good technology community, wonderful environment for startups. Are you getting a lot of what do we say? Are you feeling the love from the startup community?
I do feel the love. Atlanta has made tremendous progress, and I'm actually on my second time living here in Atlanta. So I went to college here at Emory University, and then I worked here a while, and then I left for a long time, and just recently came back last summer, actually, to run ER Express. And just in that time, in the last six and a half years, just this tremendous outgrowth, and just the energy among entrepreneurs, the things that TAG is doing, what the ATDC at Georgia Tech is doing to really promote entrepreneurship and promote collaboration, just get people, working together. There's, a lot of energy behind that. So I find it great to be here. It's a great city. I've got lots of roots here, but to see the progress we've made as a city, and I think there's more to come.
Well, Sahil, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today on Tech Talk.
Well, thanks for having me on the show.